Your attitude isn't just a reflection of your life, it's the compass that directs it. And here's the game changer: shift the needle and watch your destination transform. Pause for a second and ask yourself this: what direction is your attitude pointing you toward right now? Because whether you're aware of it or not, your attitude is the one behind the wheel, deciding if you're steering toward possibility or stuck circling the same block of fear, frustration, and limitation. Now picture this: you're standing in the middle of an airport. Planes are taking off to destinations all over the world. You've got your ticket in hand, and that ticket, it's your attitude. It determines whether you're heading somewhere extraordinary or nowhere at all. But here's the kicker: most of us aren't even aware of the attitude we're carrying. We hold on to old stories, outdated maps of who we think we are, and wonder why we feel stuck. Let's make this personal for a moment. Think back to a time when everything felt like an uphill battle. Maybe it was a job, a relationship, or a goal that just seemed out of reach. Did you notice how your attitude, your thoughts, your energy colored every part of that experience? When you expected failure, didn't the obstacles seem bigger? When you were convinced things wouldn't work out, didn't that belief just confirm itself? That's not coincidence. That's your compass at work. But here's the exciting part: you can change direction at any moment. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man, let's call him Eric, who dreamed of becoming a writer. He loved words. He loved the way stories could change lives. But every time he sat down to write, his inner voice whispered, "Who do you think you are? You're not good enough. No one's going to read this." That voice, those doubts shaped his attitude. And that attitude, it kept him staring at a blank page for years. One day, Eric decided to do something radical. He didn't suddenly become fearless. He didn't magically erase his doubts. What he did was this: he shifted his attitude just slightly. He began saying to himself, what if my words could help just one person? That single shift in perspective changed everything. His attitude went from fear to service, from self-doubt to possibility. And you know what? He didn't just write the book, he ended up impacting thousands of lives. That's the power of adjusting your compass. Let me ask you this: what are you telling yourself every day? Are your thoughts steering you toward courage, abundance, and growth, or are they pulling you back into the comfort zone of mediocrity? Here's a truth I want you to let sink in. Your attitude is never static. It's always in motion, always creating. It's either building your dreams or reinforcing your fears. And the beautiful thing? You get to choose where it takes you. So how do we shift the needle? Step one, awareness. You can't change a compass that you're not even looking at. Take a moment and reflect on the thoughts you've been feeding yourself lately. Are they helping you or are they holding you back? Let's do a quick exercise. Imagine your thoughts as seeds. Every belief you hold: I'm not enough, I can't do it, this is too hard, plants a seed. Over time, those seeds grow into weeds that choke out your potential. But when you plant seeds of possibility: I am capable, I am worthy, I am unstoppable, you grow a garden that fuels your success. What kind of garden are you tending right now? Step two, intention. Once you see where your compass is pointing, set a new direction. This doesn't have to be complicated. Start small. Replace one limiting belief with one empowering one. Instead of saying, I'll never figure this out, say, I'm learning, I'm growing, and I'll find a way. Here's a little hack: write it down. Say it out loud. Put it where you'll see it every day. Because repetition rewires your mind. Step three, action. The universe loves movement. When you shift your attitude, back it up with action, even if it's just one step. Think of it like this: you're driving a car. If you keep the steering wheel turned slightly to the left, where will you end up? Not where you intended, right? But the moment you correct the wheel, even a tiny bit, you're back on track. Life works the same way. One small action, fueled by a better attitude, can change your trajectory entirely. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, it's not that easy. Life is tough. Circumstances are out of my control, and you're right, circumstances happen. But your attitude, that's your superpower. It's the one thing no one can take from you. Here's another story to think about. There was a man who lost everything: his job, his home, his sense of purpose. And for months he felt like a victim of life's circumstances. One day he decided to make a shift. He started volunteering at a local shelter, not because it would fix his problems, but because he wanted to bring some light to others. That shift in attitude didn't just change his energy, it changed his opportunities. Through volunteering, he met people who offered him a new job, a place to stay, and a chance to rebuild his life. When you shift your attitude, you don't just change your inner world, you create a ripple effect that transforms everything around you. So let me leave you with this thought. Your attitude isn't just a mirror reflecting your life, it's the compass directing IT dot. If you want to change your destination, start by shifting the needle. And remember this, every moment is a chance to course correct. No matter where you are right now, no matter what your past looks like, you hold the power to choose where you're headed next. Make that choice with intention. Plant the seeds of possibility. Take action even when it's scary. Because when you align your attitude with your highest vision, there is nothing that can stop you. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Think about that for a second. Let it really sink in, because this isn't just a clever quote, it's a gateway. A portal into a whole new way of living, a doorway to boundless possibilities. How often do we get stuck? Not because of what's happening around us, but because of the way we're choosing to see it. Here's the truth, the world out there isn't fixed. It isn't rigid. It's fluid. It responds to the lens through which we view it. Here's a question for you. What kind of lens are you looking through today? Are you waking up and seeing challenges, obstacles, a mountain too high to climb? Or are you seeing opportunities disguised as problems, growth hidden in discomfort? Because the way you choose to see the world creates your experience of it. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman, let's call her Sarah, who worked a job she absolutely hated. Every day felt like a grind. She'd wake up dreading her commute, dragging herself through the hours, counting down the seconds until she could leave. One day, a mentor said to her, Sarah, what if you're not stuck in this job? What if this job is your training ground for something greater? Now, Sarah could have brushed that off, but instead she decided to change the way she looked at her work. Instead of seeing it as a dead end, she started asking herself, what can I learn here? How can this prepare me for what's next? And something incredible happened. Her attitude shifted, and with it, so did her experience. She began to notice skills she hadn't appreciated before. She built connections she'd overlooked. Within a year, those shifts led her to a new role she'd never imagined possible. Here's the magic. The job didn't change. She did. That's the power of perception. Let me ask you this, what in your life feels unchangeable right now? Is it your job, a relationship, your finances, your health? And what story are you telling yourself about it? Because here's the thing, the story you tell becomes the reality you live. Maybe you're saying it's too late for me to change the way you look at it, and suddenly it's never been a better time to start. Maybe you're saying this problem is impossible, shift your perspective, and you'll see that it's not a problem, it's a puzzle waiting for a solution. Let me give you another example. There's a story about two salesmen sent to a remote village to sell shoes. The first salesman calls his company and says, this is hopeless. No one here wears shoes. The second salesman calls and says, this is incredible. No one here wears shoes. What an opportunity. Same situation. Two completely different outcomes. Why? Because they looked at it differently. And you can do the same. Take a moment right now. Think about one area of your life where you feel stuck. Close your eyes if you need to. Picture it clearly. Now ask yourself, what's one new way I could look at this? What possibility have I been missing because I've been so focused on the problem? Here's a little secret: when you ask better questions, you get better answers. But let's go deeper. Changing the way you look at things doesn't just shift your thoughts, it shifts your energy. Imagine you're holding a glass of water. If you keep looking at it as half empty, how does that make you feel? Drained, hopeless. But the moment you see it as half full, your entire body responds differently. You feel lighter, energized, hopeful. That shift in energy doesn't just stay inside you, it radiates outward. It affects how you speak, how you act, how others respond to you. Have you ever noticed how some people walk into a room and light it up, while others seem to dim the space around them? It's not about their circumstances, it's about their perspective. They've trained themselves to see light, and in doing so, they bring it wherever they go. Here's a challenge for you. The next time you're faced with something difficult, maybe it's a disagreement, a setback, or even just a frustrating day, stop and say to yourself, what's the gift here? Because there's always a gift. Always. Sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's resilience. Sometimes it's a lesson you didn't even know you needed. And I get it, this isn't always easy. When life feels heavy, when you're in the middle of the storm, it's hard to see the silver lining, but that's exactly when this shift matters most. Let me tell you one last story. There was a man who lost his job unexpectedly. At first, he was devastated. He felt like a failure. But instead of staying in that place, he decided to shift the way he looked at his situation. He told himself, this isn't the end. This is a blank page, a chance to rewrite my story. With that mindset, he started pursuing a passion he'd been putting off for years. And guess what? That passion turned into a thriving business that brought him more fulfillment than he'd ever known. The loss of his job wasn't the end, it was the beginning. So here's what I want you to take with you tonight. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at truly do change. Life isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. And when you shift your perspective, you open the door to a reality that's been waiting for you all along. Make that shift. Choose to see the good. Choose to see the opportunity, and watch as the world transforms before your eyes. A good attitude is like a sunrise. It doesn't just light up your day, it inspires everyone around you. Think about that. When the sun rises, it doesn't force anything. It doesn't shout, "Look at me." It simply rises, glowing in its own brilliance, and the world responds. The flowers bloom, the birds sing, and the darkness recedes. Your attitude has that same power if you let it shine. Let me ask you, what kind of sunrise are you bringing into the lives of those around you? Are you stepping into your day with light, warmth, and purpose? Or are you carrying the weight of a storm cloud that dims your own potential and shadows everyone else's? Now here's the beauty of it. You don't have to be perfect to radiate light. You just have to be intentional. Picture this. You walk into a room where everyone's energy feels heavy. People are hunched over, speaking in low, resigned voices. You could let that energy pull you down, or you could bring in your own light. Smile. Stand tall. Speak with kindness. Watch what happens. That room transforms, not because you forced it, but because your attitude set a higher frequency, and others couldn't help but rise to meet it. Here's the secret. A good attitude doesn't just make you feel better, it's contagious. It's like dropping a pebble in a still pond. The ripples travel outward farther than you can see. Your light, your energy, your positivity, it creates waves that can inspire people you may never even meet. Let me share a quick story. There was a woman named Maria who worked as a cashier at a busy grocery store. Now, most people would think it's just a job, nothing special, but Maria had a secret weapon, her attitude. Every customer who came through her line left with a smile. Why? Because Maria made it her mission to brighten their day. She didn't just scan groceries, she looked people in the eye. She complimented them, joked with them, and thanked them sincerely. One day, a man came through her line who looked completely defeated. Maria, with her usual warmth, said, "You've got a great smile. I hope today gives you a reason to use it." That man later returned to the store just to thank her. He said her words had stopped him from making a terrible decision that day. Think about that. Maria's attitude didn't just light up her day, it saved someone else's life. Now let me bring this back to you. What kind of ripple effect are you creating when you step out into the world with a heart full of gratitude and a mind focused on possibility? You give others permission to do the same. But let's get real for a moment. It's not always easy to show up with a good attitude, is it? Life throws curveballs. People can be rude, plans fall apart, and sometimes you wake up feeling like the last thing you want to do is smile. Here's where the magic happens. A good attitude isn't about ignoring the tough stuff. It's about choosing to see beyond it. Imagine a sunrise trying to fight through the clouds. It doesn't stop shining just because the clouds are there. It keeps rising, keeps glowing, and eventually it breaks through. Your attitude works the same way. When life feels cloudy, you have to remind yourself that your light is stronger than the storm. Let me give you a practical way to make this shift. Start your day with intention. Before your feet even touch the ground, take a moment to set the tone for your day. Say to yourself, today I'm bringing light. No matter what comes my way, I'll find a reason to smile and share that with others. Here's a fun exercise. Try being the sunrise in someone's day. Compliment a stranger. Call a friend just to tell them you appreciate them. Smile at someone who looks like they're having a rough day. These little actions don't just lift others, they'll lift you too. Here's why this works. Positivity multiplies. It's impossible to lift someone else up without lifting yourself in the process. That's the magic of being a light bringer. Now, some of you might be thinking, but Wayne, I don't feel like I have anything to give. My own life feels so dark right now, and I hear you. But let me tell you something powerful. Your light doesn't come from outside circumstances, it comes from within. Think about the sun for a moment. Does it wait for permission to rise? Does it wait for someone to say, it's okay, now you can shine? No, it shines because that's what it's made to do. And so are you. You don't need everything in your life to be perfect to choose a good attitude. You just need to decide that your light is stronger than whatever darkness you're facing. Here's another quick story. There was a teacher named Mr. Wilson who worked in an inner city school where most of his students came from challenging backgrounds. Many of them arrived at school angry, defeated, or completely checked out. But every day, Mr. Wilson greeted each student at the door with a smile and a kind word. At first, the kids didn't know what to make of him. They were used to being dismissed, ignored, or criticized. But over time, his consistent positivity began to break through. Those kids started showing up differently, not just in his class, but in their lives. Years later, many of them returned to thank him, saying his belief in them changed the course of their lives. Here's the takeaway: you don't have to change the whole world to make a difference. Start with one person, one moment, one choice to be the sunrise in someone's day. Let me leave you with this thought. The world needs more light. It needs more people who choose to rise, even when it's hard, even when it feels like no one is watching. Because here's the truth: when you light up your own life, you ignite something in everyone around you. So be the sunrise, shine brightly, and watch the ripple effect of your inner glow transform not just your day, but the world around you. Your attitude is your superpower. Yes, your superpower. And here's the incredible truth: when you activate it, when you step into the immense energy of choosing a good one, you'll discover something magical. Challenges, they aren't roadblocks at all. They're stepping stones perfectly placed to help you rise higher. Let's stop for a second. Think about a moment in your life when everything felt impossible. A moment when it felt like life had slammed a door in your face. Now ask yourself this: what was your attitude in that moment? Did you lean into it with curiosity and courage, or did you shrink back, convinced that it was the end of the road? Here's the thing: challenges are inevitable, but your attitude, that's optional. Take this in. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening for you. And your attitude, that's how you translate the challenges life throws at you. It's not the event that defines you, it's the meaning you give to it. Let me tell you a story. Picture a woman, let's call her Sarah. She loses her job unexpectedly. Now Sarah has two choices. She can either sink into despair, telling herself, I'm a failure. This is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Or she can choose a different story. She can say, this is a chance. This is my opportunity to rediscover what I'm really passionate about. Same challenge, different attitude. And guess what? That one choice, her attitude, decides what happens next. Sarah chooses to see her layoff as a blessing in disguise. She starts a business she'd been dreaming about for years. And that business? It changes her life. Your attitude is that powerful. It's the lens through which you see everything. If you look through a lens of fear, every challenge will feel like a mountain. But if you look through a lens of growth, those mountains, they become the stepping stones to your greatness. Now, I know what you're thinking, but what about the really hard stuff? The heartbreak, the failures, the disappointments? Let me tell you something. Your superpower doesn't mean avoiding challenges. It means transforming them. It means looking at the mess and saying, this is where my strength is born. Think about the caterpillar. Before it becomes a butterfly, it wraps itself in a cocoon, a dark, confined space that feels like the end. But inside that cocoon, transformation is happening. The caterpillar isn't dying. It's being reborn. Your challenges are your cocoon. And your attitude, that's what decides if you stay stuck or if you break free and fly. Let's do something radical right now. I want you to take a moment and think about a challenge you're facing. Something that's been weighing you down. Now imagine that challenge as a teacher. Yes, a teacher. What's it here to show you? Maybe it's asking you to grow stronger. Maybe it's pushing you to let go of something that's no longer serving you. Here's the twist. Every time you choose a better attitude, you're not just surviving your challenges, you're using them as fuel. Let me give you a real-life example. There was a man named Thomas Edison. You know him as the inventor of the light bulb. But did you know he failed over 1,000 times before he got it right? And do you know what his attitude was? He didn't see those failures as defeats. He called them lessons. He said, I didn't fail 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways that didn't work. That's the attitude of a superpower. So let me ask you this. What if every challenge in your life was just a lesson in disguise? What if every setback was actually a setup for your success? Here's a little exercise. The next time you face a challenge, pause and ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? Even if it feels small, find it. Because here's the truth: when you train your attitude to look for opportunities, opportunities will start finding you. Think of your attitude like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And when it's strong, nothing, not fear, not failure, not even the toughest challenges can hold you back. And let's talk about energy for a moment, because your attitude is magnetic. When you carry a positive, empowered attitude, you attract solutions, you attract people who want to help, you attract miracles. But the opposite is also true. A negative attitude repels the very things you're hoping for. You ever notice how some people seem to walk through life like they're carrying sunshine in their pocket? It's not because their life is easier than yours. It's because they've chosen to activate their superpower. They've decided that no matter what comes their way, they'll see it as a stepping stone. And you can do this too. Let me share another quick story. There was a young athlete who suffered a career-ending injury. For months, he was devastated. He thought his life was over. But then he made a choice. He shifted his attitude. Instead of focusing on what he'd lost, he asked himself, what can I give to the world now? That one shift led him to coaching, where he inspired hundreds of young athletes. His injury didn't end his journey, it transformed it. So let me remind you, challenges aren't the end. They're just the beginning of a new path. Your attitude is your compass, it's your guide. And when you activate it, when you lean into it, you'll see that every obstacle is an opportunity in disguise. Because here's the ultimate truth: your attitude isn't just a reaction, it's a creation. It's not about what happens to you, it's about what you decide to do with it. And that's your superpower. Why settle for a bad attitude when a good one costs the same? Think about it for a moment. The energy, the effort, the time you spend carrying around negativity, it's no cheaper than choosing to carry light, hope, and positivity. But here's the catch: the return on investment couldn't be more different. A bad attitude, it closes doors, builds walls, and keeps abundance at bay. A good attitude, it invites opportunity, connection, and transformation. So let me ask you, what kind of return do you want on your life? Here's the truth, and I want you to let this sink in. Your attitude is like a lens. It colors how you see the world and how the world sees you. Imagine wearing glasses with smudged, cracked lenses. Everywhere you look, things seem broken, unclear, frustrating. But swap those lenses for a clear pair, and suddenly the world looks brighter, sharper, more inviting. That's your attitude. It's the lens through which you experience everything. And the best part, you have the power to choose your lens every single day. Let me tell you about Maria. Maria was stuck in a job she hated. Every day she'd wake up dreading her commute, dreading her coworkers, dreading the work itself. Her attitude was a magnet for frustration. She'd tell herself, this is just my life. Nothing will ever change, and so nothing did. One day something clicked for Maria. She decided to try a simple experiment. She told herself, what if, just for today, I approach my work with a different attitude? What if I choose to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow? What if I show up with gratitude instead of resistance? The result? Her job didn't magically change overnight, but her experience of it did. Her coworkers started responding to her differently. Opportunities to take on new projects appeared. Eventually, Maria was offered a promotion she never expected, all because she shifted her lens. Here's the kicker: Maria's circumstances didn't change first. Her attitude did. And that's the secret, my friends. Your attitude doesn't follow your circumstances follow your attitude. Why settle for the bad when the good is just as accessible? Let's dive deeper into this. Think of your attitude as a thermostat. You set it, and it regulates the environment around you. Set it to negativity, and you attract more negativity, more stress, more setbacks, more resistance. More resistance. Set it to positivity, and you start to create warmth, ease, and connection. Here's a little exercise. Close your eyes and imagine your attitude as a signal you're broadcasting out into the world. What kind of signal are you sending? Are you saying, stay away? Life's a struggle. Don't bother me. Or are you saying, come closer, I'm open, I'm ready for possibility? The signal you send determines what you attract. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, Wayne, it's not that simple. Life is hard, bad things happen, and you're absolutely right. Life throws curveballs. But here's the thing, your attitude is never about what happens to you. It's about how you choose to respond. Imagine two people stuck in traffic. One is pounding the steering wheel, yelling, why does this always happen to me? The other takes a deep breath, puts on their favorite music, and thinks, well, I guess I have some extra time to reflect. Same traffic, completely different experiences. The attitude you choose shapes the reality you live. Let me tell you about Jack. Jack was a man who had every reason to feel bitter. He lost his job, his home, and his confidence all in 1 year. But instead of letting a bad attitude take over, Jack decided to focus on what he could control. Every morning, he wrote down 3 things he was grateful for. He volunteered at a local shelter to keep his mind busy and his heart full. That choice? It changed everything. Through volunteering, Jack made connections that led to a new job. His gratitude practice helped him rebuild his confidence, and over time, he didn't just recover, he thrived. Jack didn't settle for a bad attitude when a good one was just as available. And look at what it invited into his life: abundance, connection, and growth. Now, I want you to think about your own life. Where have you been settling? Where have you allowed negativity to take up space in your mind, your heart, your energy? And more importantly, what could shift if you decided right now to choose differently? Here's a powerful truth: a good attitude doesn't cost you more effort, it costs you less. Think about how exhausting it is to carry anger, resentment, or fear. It weighs you down, it drains your energy. But a positive attitude, it's lighter, it's freeing, it creates momentum. And here's another thing: a good attitude isn't about ignoring challenges, it's about facing them with strength, grace, and trust. Remember this, your attitude is contagious. It's not just about you, it impacts everyone around you. When you walk into a room with a bad attitude, people feel it. But when you walk in with positivity, you lift the energy of the entire space. Here's a little challenge for you. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, set an intention. Tell yourself today, I choose a good attitude. I choose a good attitude. I choose abundance. I choose to see the best in myself and others. Say it out loud. Write it down. And then watch what happens. Because when you shift your attitude, you don't just change your experience, you change the world around you. So I'll ask you again, why settle for a bad attitude when a good one costs the same? The only difference is the abundance it invites into your life. Choose wisely. The greatest gift you can give the world is your positive energy. Now let that sink in for a moment. Not your accomplishments, not your money, not even your time, your energy. Why? Because your energy is what shapes the way you show up in the world, and the way you show up in the world determines everything else. Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt either uplifted or drained just by someone's presence? That's energy in action. And here's the thing, we're all radiating something every single moment of every single day. So the question is, what are you radiating? You see, your attitude, the way you think, the way you feel, the way you react to life is the engine behind that energy. It's the invisible force that either lifts people higher or pulls them down. And here's the truth I want you to hold on to. Positive energy isn't just about feeling good. It's about doing good, inspiring good, creating good. Now, maybe you're thinking, that sounds nice, but my life is stressful. I've got problems. How can I just radiate positivity when everything feels so heavy? Let me stop you right there. Positive energy isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing how you respond to it. It's about recognizing that no matter what's happening around you, you have the power to decide what happens within you. Let me tell you a quick story. There was a woman named Laura. Laura had a demanding job, bills piling up, and what seemed like a never-ending string of challenges. She used to walk around with a cloud over her head, snapping at coworkers, complaining to friends. And guess what? That energy created a ripple effect. People avoided her. Opportunities slipped away. Even her own health began to suffer. One day, Laura decided to try something different. Instead of starting her mornings with dread, she began with gratitude. She didn't solve all her problems overnight, but she started noticing the little things, the warmth of her coffee, the way the sunlight hit her desk, the kindness of a stranger holding the door for her. Her energy shifted, and so did her world. People started gravitating toward her, her relationships improved, and even the challenges in her life began to feel more manageable. That's the magnetism of positive energy. Now let me ask you something. What would happen if you made that same shift? Because here's the secret, your attitude is contagious. It's like a signal you're constantly broadcasting to the world. When you choose positivity, you attract positivity. It's not magic, it's physics. Like attracts like. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to draw success, happiness, and connection toward them effortlessly? That's no accident. They're not just lucky, they're deliberate. They've made a choice to let their energy become a magnet for miracles. Let's make this personal for a moment. Picture yourself standing in front of a mirror. Look closely. Are you showing up as the best version of yourself? The version that inspires, uplifts, and encourages? Or are you letting negativity weigh you down and ripple outward? Here's a simple but powerful exercise. Close your eyes and imagine someone in your life who always makes you feel good. Maybe it's a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger you met once who left a lasting impression. Think about how they made you feel. Now here's the challenge, be that person for someone else. Start today. Smile at a stranger, offer a kind word. Replace a complaint with gratitude. These aren't small actions, they're seeds of transformation. And here's the kicker, when you give your positive energy to the world, it doesn't run out, it multiplies. It comes back to you in ways you can't even imagine. Think of it like this, when you light one candle with another, the flame doesn't diminish, it spreads. The room gets brighter. And in the same way, your attitude, your energy has the power to light up the lives of everyone around you. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, that sounds great, but what about the people who drain my energy? The ones who always bring me down. Here's the thing, protecting your energy doesn't mean shutting people out, it means setting boundaries. It means staying rooted in your positivity no matter what's happening around you. It's like being the calm in the storm, the eye of the hurricane. Remember, you can't control how others act, but you can always control how you respond. And when you respond with grace, with compassion, with positivity, you become the example, you become the light. Let's take it one step further. Imagine the ripple effect of your positive energy. You smile at a stranger, and that stranger goes on to have a better day. They're kinder to their coworkers, who then go home and are more patient with their families. Your one small act creates a chain reaction that you may never see, but it's happening. That's the power you hold. Now, I want you to think about this. What if every single day you treated your attitude like a gift you were giving to the world? What if you woke up and said, today I'm going to radiate positivity. Today I'm going to be the person who uplifts everyone around me. That's not just wishful thinking, it's a choice, it's a commitment. And here's the beautiful part. When you commit to being that source of positive energy, life starts to reflect it back to you. Doors open, connections deepen. Challenges feel less daunting, not because they disappear, but because your energy has shifted to a place of strength, resilience, and faith. So I'll leave you with this thought: the greatest gift you can give the world is your positive energy. Start today. Let your attitude become the magnet that attracts miracles. Because when you do, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world. Thanks for joining me today. If you found value in this discussion, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more motivational content. Share your thoughts in the comments below.